Big news just dropped. The public release of Ripple's Volume 1 application for a national banking charter is finally here. This is a massive development that lays the foundation for where Ripple is heading in the coming months and years. And a big shout out to Wrath Economy on X, who was the first one I saw post about it. If you're not already following him, I highly recommend checking him out. I'll try to link his account in the video description below. Let's break this down because there are a ton of clues hidden in this document. Some of these details are things we hadn't seen before, and they give us a crystal clear window into Ripple's bigger vision and how XRP may fit into that picture. We're not just looking at another crypto company trying to survive regulatory headwinds. We're looking at Ripple laying the infrastructure for a fully regulated, blockchain-powered financial system. So, what exactly is Ripple applying for? Application confirms that Ripple is seeking to charter a limited-purpose national trust bank, regulated by the OCC. This means Ripple doesn't want to be just another fintech firm or crypto platform. They're moving towards something bigger, something institutional. This bank would be able to custody RLUSD reserves, that's Ripple's new stablecoin, and serve as a regulated infrastructure provider for tokenized finance. And right in the commentary, Wrath asks the question, future Fed access? That's not a wild assumption. The infrastructure they're applying for could eventually plug directly into the Federal Reserve, making Ripple a critical piece of America's financial plumbing. It's no small thing. Now here's a line that really caught my attention. Ripple Labs Incorporated is the sponsor and is proposing to create the Ripple National Trust Bank. You're probably wondering, does this mean we can all open checking accounts at Ripple? Are we finally getting personal Ripple bank accounts? Not so fast. Unfortunately, the answer is no. This trust bank is not designed for retail banking. In fact, the application explicitly states that the CRA, Community Reinvestment Act, doesn't apply to banks that don't take deposits or offer loans. This bank's focus is strictly fiduciary. It will serve enterprise clients and handle custody and tokenization, not retail customers. I know, it hurts. I'd love to open an account at Ripple too, but for now, this is strictly business to business. Infrastructure. Still, the door's not closed forever. If this plays out successfully, Ripple could expand into more traditional banking offerings in the future. One detail that stood out is that this trust bank is entirely built for RLUSD. There is no mention of XRP in the filing. That might be surprising at first, but it's a strategic move. Including XRP would raise flags with regulators, especially with Ripple still facing pressure from the SEC and banking institutions that feel threatened by crypto firms entering their turf. By leaving XRP out of the application, Ripple is playing it safe and keeping the bank's approval process as clean as possible. But, and this is important, nothing in the application prevents XRP from being integrated later. It's just not being mentioned now to avoid delays or scrutiny. Now let's talk about the ownership structure. This is where it gets interesting. Ripple Labs will own 100% of the bank. There's only one class of stock, and it's all privately held. No outside subscribers. No debt financing. No public offerings. This means Ripple will retain full control over this bank, issuing stock internally to executives and directors. Some folks believe this kind of structure is often used by companies prepping for an IPO. Could Ripple's public listing be closer than we think? The application even outlines executive compensation and stock benefit plans, including stock options and warrants for insiders. That's a clear signal they're locking in top talent and preparing for long-term growth. Let's take a step back. What is Ripple really building here? They want to launch a federally compliant banking entity that focuses on managing tokenized value through RLUSD. They're not applying for FDIC insurance. They're not applying for a money transfer license. They're building a financial bridge that connects traditional finance with blockchain in a fully regulated, secure way. And if they do eventually gain Fed access, they'll have the power to move funds across the U.S. financial system at the base layer. That would make Ripple one of the most critical liquidity providers in this new digital ecosystem. Let's talk about the leadership behind this. This isn't just a list of names. They're bringing in serious financial muscle. John McDonald will serve as president, John Zavinga as chief operating and trust officer, Stuart Elderati, their chief legal officer, is a name you already know, Timothy Keeney, formerly of BNY Mellon, will serve as vice chairman, and David Puth, a major player in financial markets and payment systems, is also involved. The board will include 5 directors, all U.S. citizens. Again, Ripple Labs owns it all. No S-corp status, no outside funding. Just pure internal capitalization. The operations will be entirely digital first. They plan to deliver services electronically with no physical retail presence. Their base will be New York, but the trust will be able to serve both domestic and international markets, where permitted. This is volume 1 of the application. That implies more documents are coming. And those next volumes could include details on future integrations, perhaps even XRP-related developments. Now imagine this timeline with me. SEC case ends in Ripple's favor. XRP spot ETFs hit the market. Ripple gets this national banking license approved, and Ripple goes public with a blockbuster IPO. That's not just bullish. It's a complete transformation of the financial landscape, and Ripple's not slowing down. They just participated in a high-level roundtable with the U.S. Treasury alongside Stellar. Lauren Believe, Ripple's head of public policy, was there with Undersecretary Natalie Y. Leong, discussing how to upgrade the U.S. government's financial systems and the future role of CBDCs and tokenized money. Now let me ask you, how many other crypto projects are having direct conversations with the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve? Not many. You don't see most top 50 projects invited to these rooms. Ripple, on the other hand, has a long-standing history of working directly with these institutions that they've engaged with the Fed, SEC, FinCEN, and even took part in the Fed's Faster Payments Task Force years ago. They were the only blockchain company invited to that working group. The pieces have been falling into place for almost a decade. Let's zoom out even further. Ripple is helping to build the Internet of Value. Not just a faster payment system. Not just another stablecoin. Ripple is building a world where money, assets, real estate, stocks, data, all move frictionlessly across borders, just like email or information. But that's not hype. That's the endgame. That's why you hear talk of XRP eventually hitting prices that seem outrageous today. When you're talking about capturing the value of a global financial internet, you're not talking small numbers. You're talking about quadrillions of dollars in tokenized assets, all flowing through networks like the XRP ledger. Now, yes, we need stronger liquidity. RLUSD needs adoption. EVM sidechains need expansion. But all of these pieces are being worked on. Everything is in motion. It just takes time. So instead of asking, why isn't XRP moving today? Maybe ask, how am I preparing for what's coming? This is what Crypto Labs News is all about, bringing you the truth, the nuance, and the macro vision that most people miss. And if you got value out of today's video, make sure you like and subscribe. We just crossed 100,000 subscribers, and that's all because of you. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with us. And just as a reminder, this video is not financial advice. It's for educational and entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and consult a professional before making financial decisions. Thanks again for watching, and let's keep pushing forward together.